Hi everybody and welcome to my latest little video on my little YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing part 3 of the David Bowie collection. But first I just want to say a little bit of information about some of the records that we've already looked. I found a bit more info on the interweb. So the David Bowie album from 1967 originally got to the heights of number 125 in the UK charts. It didn't chart anywhere else in the world at the time. The David Bowie album from 1969, which was on Mercury or Philips, depending on where he lived, and was later released as, or re-released as, Space Oddity, got to number 17 in the UK, and it got to number 16 in the US of A, and it got to number 21 in Australia. The Man Who Sold the World from 1970 got to 24 in the UK and 105 in America. I thought it actually got higher than that in America. And then Hunky Dory, which we looked at last time, which was released on the 17th of December 1971, got to number 3, the heights of number 3 in the UK and number 57 in America. So I will be looking at this just to give a little bit of information on the albums that we're going to be looking at today. Again, I'm going to try and do it between 20 and 30 minutes. Don't really want it to go over 30 minutes. So you've got that little bit of information. Just before we start, thank you to everybody that has been subscribing and continue to subscribe and like and things like that. You know, it is really, really fantastic. You are really, really doing me very, very proud at the minute. So we'll carry on. So we're going to start off in 1972. So, you know, in the early 1972, David was still like relatively unknown, but he was starting to get more recognition in the UK. So the album that we're going to kick this one off with it was released on the 16th of June 1972, and is actually the first LP that David recorded for RCA. And you could get it on LP, MC music cassette, and 8-track cartridge apparently. The album is this one. Make a little bit of room here. David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, which is probably Bowie's best known LP, isn't it, in all honesty. This is original UK copy, so it's on the RCA Victor label. A gem production. So if you don't know the tracks, I'll quickly go through the tracks. You've got 5 Years, Soul Love, Moon Age Daydream, Starman, It Ain't Easy. Side 2 is Lady Stardust, Star, Hang On To Yourself, fantastic song, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, and then Rock and Roll Suicide. And the musicians were David Bowie, guitar, sax and vocals, Mick Ronson, guitar, piano and vocals, Trevor Boulder, bass, and Mick Woodmansey on drums. And it was arranged by David Bowie and Mick Ronson, and it was produced by David Bowie, Ken Scott, and it was recorded at Trident Studios in London. So that is the front cover, and then that is the back cover. Probably one of his best known albums as in sales, and one that everybody would know this is a David Bowie album before they even like read who it was from. The UK originals did come with a inner sleeve that had all the words to the songs, and then you did get like some photos of the band. I think David Bowie looks a bit weird there. Of course, he'd just had his hair cut anti for this because it was very, very long, wasn't it, on Hunky Dory. So we get it on a orange RCA label, and this is the one that has Titanic music, Chrysalis music for the songs. There was one sec. So that is side 1, which later was changed to something else, wasn't it? Again, on side 2, it's music songs published by Titanic Music, Chrysalis Music. All tracks composed by David Bowie, a gem production, 1972 RCA Records. Fantastic looking album. This, believe it or not, I've had this for years and years and years, and was one of the first records that I got when I started collecting records again. But there is a massive scratch there. I don't know if you can see it, just there. But it's, although you can feel it when you play it, it doesn't make any difference to this at all. This was like an album that was also like a story, or could be considered as a story. I wouldn't exactly say it's a concept album as such, but it is like in the vein of a concept album. And it basically tells the tale of a alien that comes to Earth, and is like thought of as like a new messiah sort of thing. I love every song on this LP. I don't think there's a weak track on this at all. The daft thing is, originally this wasn't going to be called Ziggy Stardust at all, was it? It was going to be called Round and Round. And Round and Round, the old Chuck Berry song, was actually going to be on here as well. Or so I've been told. How true that is, I don't know, but like I say, it always makes a nice story anyway. Artwork was by Terry Pastor of Main Artery, to be played at maximum volume. So at this time, it says a gem production, but there is no mention of Main Man at all on there. Great album. What's your favourite track off it? Like I say, that is the original UK version. Got another version of it here. And I think this is exactly the same. I'll just have a quick... This is actually in slightly better condition, to be honest. I don't know if this says Titanic. Yeah, the difference with this one is, on the label, for all the tracks, it says Main Man Chrysalis. So it doesn't say Titanic music, Chrysalis music. It says Main Man. But it still says a gem production. So this is a slightly later copy. Or it could be an original copy, I don't know. This hasn't got... This is in really, really nice condition. Again, you do get the inner sleeve with this as well, which originals did have. Or did have. Great album. I don't really need that needs any more explanation, does it? Do that one on in a minute. Then we've got Aladdin Sane. This was the follow-up to the Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, which was released on the 20th of April 1973. Again on RCA, and you could get it on LP, music cassette, and 8-track. This is actually the first record of David's that got to #1 in the UK charts. Got to number 17 in America. This did. Gatefold sleeve. You can get a version of this that isn't a gatefold sleeve, which is a slightly later copy, and some copies did come with a fan club insert as well. Still liking the character of Ziggy Stardust, isn't it? Fantastic songs on this. You've got Watch That Man, Aladdin Sane, Driving Saturday, Panic in Detroit, Cracked Actor, Side 2 is Time, The Prettiest Star, which was originally released as a single in 1970, but then David re-recorded it for this album. Let's Spend the Night Together, The Gene Genie, and Lady Grinning Soul. Just going back to Ziggy Stardust for a second. Most people seem to think Ziggy Stardust was released as a single, but it never was. Starman was released as a single, and then Ziggy Stardust was released as a B-side, I think. And then later on, I think they did Suffragette City with Rock and Roll Suicide as a single, I seem to remember, but I might be wrong on that. The singles off this one was Driving Saturday, which was backed by Panic in Detroit, if I remember rightly. Like I say, The Pretty Star had originally already been a single, but in a different format, and not the version that's here. The Gene Genie was a single prior to this album coming out, and I think that was it on this one. I've always thought Aladdin Sane would have made a brilliant single. Ooh, they love a lad insane. So you get all the hype and everything, and now you do get a main man production, which was like Tony DeFries's management company. That I think David had to pay a hell of a lot of money to get out of, didn't he, in the 80s. So that's your gatefold sleeve. Again, it is on RCA Victor. So this was the original inner sleeve, which does actually have the words to all of the songs. Again, very sort of like Ziggy Stardust, isn't it? And you do get so you got Mick Ronson, David Bowie, Trevor Bolder, and Woody Woodmansey, represented exclusively by a main man, it says on here. Then you've got Mike Carson on piano. But who produced it? I don't know who produced it. Recorded at Trident Studios, London, and produced by David Bowie and Ken Scott for Main Man. Like I say, so at this time he was tied to the Main Man management contract. Like we say, cost him thousands, if not millions, to get out of later on in his career, didn't it? This is a slightly later copy, although the sleeve is original. This is one of them that's a Dynaflex. Nice record though. I always think Crack Tact, I love that song. Crack baby crack, show me your views. Smack baby smacks, all I can feel. Baby butt, give me your head. Dee 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 dee. Down, down. I'll do that after the video. So although everybody thinks Ziggy Stardust was his big breakthrough, which it was, this actually sold more copies. And I think a lot of these on the original UK version, where it was the name of the song, there'd be like a city from America in it, because he wrote a lot of the songs on this when there was a tour in America. Then we've got this one, which is not an official David Bowie album. This is Santa Monica 1972. So technically I should have done this before Pinups, shouldn't I? It's basically edited from a radio show of a live recording. Something to do with because it's out of copyright or something. So it's not a legitimate Bowie LP, but it is still nice to have for a collector. Apparently there is another version of this which has got more, more songs on. Songs on this is Ziggy Stardust, Changes, Life on Mars, The Superman, Space Oddity, Andy Warhol, John and Mona Dancing. B-side is Moon Age Daydream, My Death, Waiting for the Man, The Gene Genie and Mokomo Suicide. This is on 180 gram vinyl, by the way, so that is the track listing for this. I won't bother getting this one out because, like I say, this isn't an official LP, but it is just nice to have, you know, to show like it in completeness sort of thing. Then we've got one of the best live LPs ever, in my opinion, and this is Ziggy Stardust, the motion picture. 15 previously unreleased live tracks, it says on here. Now, although this was recorded in 1973, it wasn't actually released till 1973, but I'm including it here because it is from the period that we're looking at these records from. It is a double LP, and you get some really fantastic songs here. You get side one kicks off with Hang On To Yourself, then you get Ziggy Stardust, Watch That Man, then you get a medley of Wild Eyed Boy from Freecloud, All the Young Dudes, and Oh You Pretty Things. Oh You Pretty Things. Side B is Moon Age Daydream, Space Oddity and My Death. Side C is Cracked Actor, Time and Width of a Circle. Then you've got side D is Changes, Let's Spend the Night Together, Suffragette City, White Light, White Heat and Rock and Roll Suicide. Live recording, produced and mixed by David Bowie and Mike Morgan. Remixed by David Bowie, Tony Visconti and Bruce Turgu, I think that says. Album designed by Alexander D. Lama. Photography, Nick Sangino. And the musicians are Mick Ronson, guitar and vocals, Trevor Boulder, bass, Woody Woodmansey, drums, Ken Fordham, saxophone, Brian Wilshaw, horns, John Hutchinson, guitar, Jeffrey McCormack, back and vocals and percussion, and then Mike Garson, piano. Now the strange thing about this is John Hutchinson goes all the way back to basically David Bowie in the lower third, and they've known each other since they went to school. And I think I'm right in saying John Hutchinson was also originally going to be on the Space Oddity single because it was going to be released as them, and he'd been with the Feathers. And I'm not sure if he's the one that had the fight with David, and that's how David got his funny eye. I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else. But yeah, so it worked with David Bowie before he was famous. So I think it was nice that he was on this. And obviously, this is like the last live, or one of the last live shows. In fact, this is the last live show because David even says it at the end that there was ever going to do. He says, thanks for coming. You've been great. This is the last show. This is the last time we'll ever tour together, or something. The last live show we'll ever do. Like I say, so this didn't come out till 1983, but so it has been slightly sort of like remixed, I think. So I'll just show you one record because you don't need to see both of them because the labels and everything are exactly the same. Great sounding record, like I say, one of the best ever live albums I've ever heard. Always seems a bit of a shame because it's like the energy and everything that David Bowie and the Spiders, as they were on this, was putting into them shows was amazing. It makes you wonder why David got rid of the Spiders. I sort of do know why he did do it, but it does make you wonder what they could have gone on to achieve if they'd have kept it together. I think it got sort of like typecast as Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders anti David Bowie, and he wanted to, he wanted to carry on and evolve as he did all the way through the rest of his career. Right, then we've got this one, which is an updated version of the last one we've just seen. So you've got Introduction, then you've got Hang On To Yourself, Ziggy Stardust, Watch That Man, Wild Eyed Boy from Free Clad, or The Young Dudes, Oh You Pretty Thing. So that is basically the same as that, isn't it? It's just you've got the introduction on it. Side 2, you've got Moon Age Daydream, Changes, Space Oddity and My Death. Side 3, you've got Introduction, Cracked Actor, Time and Width of a Circle. Then side 4, you've got Let's Spend the Night Together, Suffragette City, White Light, White Heat, Farewell Speech, and then Rock and Roll Suicide. And this was released in 2009, I think it says. And this is on Parlophone. Which is, you do get a bit more with this. I'll just get one of the records out again because I don't want to bore you. Well, the labels on these, you don't really see anything anyway. So you've got like a silhouette there of Mick Ronson, I think it is. And then you get like the Ziggy, sort of like sign thing there. But you did get some inner sleeves with this, which is probably worth showing. Because I think you still can buy this in certain record department stores. Part 1, 3rd of July 1973 at Hammersmith Odeon. That's what it says on there. See it? And then on there, look. 2005. And then it says 2015 as well. So yeah, so this is just like an update of the other one. But I do think this has been slightly remixed and remastered, I think. So that is sides 3 and 4. That's nice, isn't it? Nice. So you do get a couple of extra like things in this one. I'm surprised, to be honest, that they want a poster with that. And I'm surprised there wasn't a poster with that. Great sounding record though. So whichever one you get, whether you've got that one or that one, they're both basically the same. That's just got a few extra bits of like talking on it. They are both fantastic sounding albums, and I will stick by my original comment that this is one of the best live albums that I've ever heard by anybody. And David Bowie did make a couple of live albums, didn't he? Then we get on to another release from 1973. This was released on the 19th of October 1973, again on RCA. And you could get on good old LP, music cassette and 8-track. And this is Pinups, which a lot of fans don't like this. I have to say I do actually. I love this album. It's basically what you'd call a stopgap album, from Aladdin Sane to what came after this in 1974. It's David basically doing his interpretations of songs that were around from like 1964 to 1967. By the Mojos, the Yardbirds, Pink Floyd, the Merseys. But I think when this came out, Mick Woodmansey wasn't the drummer. I think somebody else was on drums, I seem to recall. It's an RCA Victor. So technically this is the final album to feature the Spiders from Mars. Yeah, so you've got side one, you've got Rosalie, Here Comes the Night, I Wish You Would, See Emily Play, which is actually a fantastic version of that, to be honest. Not quite on par with the Syd Barrett and Pink Floyd version, but it's not far off. Everything's Alright, I Can't Explain by The Who, again, fantastic version. Side 2, you get Friday on My Mind. Monday I've got Friday on my mind. Sorrow, which was the hit from this one, wasn't it? With your long blonde hair and your eyes of blue. Fantastic song. Don't Bring Me Down. Shape of Things, which was a Yardbird song, wasn't it? Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere, which of course was originally done by The Who, wasn't it? And then Where Have All the Good Times Gone, which was originally The Kinks. You know, there are some really, really good songs on this. 2 by The Who, aren't they? 2 by The Who. This one is quite scratched, to be honest. It is not in immaculate condition. It's playable, don't get me wrong, it's playable. But then I've got more than one copy of this. There was one set. So I've got this copy as well. I bought this. I think I bought this in Liverpool. I'm sure I did. But the sleeve's knackered on it. But with this, you do get the original insert. So it says, you know who most of the band are, but I'll relate them to you. Mick Ronson, guitar and piano. TJ Boulder, Trevor Boulder, bass guitar. Ainsley Dunbar on drums. So Mick Woodmansey had been kicked out by then. Mike Carson still there on piano, harpsichord and electric piano. Ken Folden, baritone sax. And then he worked the Moog, harmonica and tenor and alto sax. Backing vocals were by Mac Cormack, Mick Ronson and myself, meaning David Bowie. Ken Scott was my co-producer. Mick Ronson put the sleeve together and made the back photos. This album is called Pinups, a main man production. You see that? And then the interesting thing there is, that bit there is the words to "Where have all the good times gone? Do 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 ding ding ding." If you've never listened to this, by the way, you should actually stream it. Right, chart positions. In the UK, that got to #1. In America, it got to number 23. Like I say, a lot of fans or critics at the time didn't like it. I think it's a fantastic album, and I think the cover versions he's done there suit his voice perfectly, suit the band perfectly. Sorry was a massive hit, wasn't it? You know, I think there's quite a few on there that could have been released as singles. Where Have All the Good Times Gone could definitely have been released as a single, and I think See Emily Play would have done alright as a single as well. But obviously they weren't. So yeah, that's my French copy, I think this is. Although the sleeve is knackered, you do get that with it. Still an RCA Victor though. One that time. And yeah, it's in a Tamla Motown sleeve. Yeah, it is French actually. Produced by Ken Scott and David Bowie, a main man production. So the actual labels are better on this one. And that is side 2. And that is, for saying how crappy that cover is, that is virtually excellent condition, I'd say. Easy excellent condition. So that's going to be it for today. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. Although basically we've only really done 1 year, haven't we? 1973. But in that, we've covered all them albums there. All them albums. So we've gone from Ziggy Stardust up to Pinups, but we have included a couple of live albums. Like I say, that Ziggy Stardust, the motion picture soundtrack, is worth checking out. Whether you get the RCA one from 1983 or the reissue from the 2000s on Parlophone, the sound quality is good, and I will stick by what I said earlier on it. That is one of the best, if not the best, live album I've ever heard. Whether it was overdubbed or something, I don't know. But we found out lately that a lot of what we call live albums weren't really live. A lot of overdubs were done. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. I've enjoyed doing that one actually. We should be doing part 4 next week, all being, you know, fingers crossed, all being well. Once again, thank you to all of my subscribers, old and new. You're absolutely wonderful. I love you all. Thank you to people that are leaving me comments, likes and things like that. You know, it does mean a lot. Remember, you are the Beatle Dave, and I love you all. And I'd just like to say thank you for taking your time out to watch this video. And like I say, hopefully I will see you again next weekend. There might be another one tomorrow, another little video tomorrow, I don't know. But I'm going to go now because I said I was going to make it between 20 and 30 minutes long. It's 28, coming up 29 minutes now. So remember, Beatle Day loves you all. Stay safe, whatever you're doing. If you're out record digging, good luck. And I'll see you very, very soon. Love and peace. Peace and love. I love you all. Ta-ra for now.